Welcome back to the channel. We're back with our commander deck profile with Knuckles, the Echidna. For 4 mana, you get 2/4 with Double Strike, Trample, Haste. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. And then, at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 30 or more artifacts, you win the game. So, we want to have plenty of ways to create plenty of artifacts, so you get up to 30 of them and ways to benefit off of having those treasure tokens, so you get more and more treasure tokens in order to get up to that 30 in the first place. Also, his ability does happen whenever a creature you control deals combat damage, so I do believe with the double strike, it does happen twice with his ability. But yeah, we do have cards that will have trample or deal damage to our opponent with quite a bit stat line, along with ways to get more and more artifacts, like I said. Um, and also it does count for each player that you deal the combat damage to. So we want to make sure that we have ways to attack each opponent as well. But that's the general overview of the deck. We're going to get into card by card in a second. But if you guys like the video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and leave a comment on who you'd like to see in the next deck profile. Starting us off, we have Arcane Signet for some mana, which is also an artifact itself. Buster Sword, in order to get a free artifact out of our hand and onto the battlefield based upon the amount of damage we do to our opponent, giving our creatures to have the trample such as Knuckles, an even bigger stat line, or to make sure we could assure that we're dealing the damage to them. Darksteel Forge, 9 mana, but gets all your artifacts indestructible, making so that you don't get up to 29 and are about to create that last treasure token during your opponent's end step, only for them to Vandal Blast you. Instead, they only get rid of this one, and you just have to create 2. Felwar Stone for some mana, Genji Glove. A quick creature has double strike, making it so you could also deal double damage to one opponent as well. And whenever a quick creature attacks, if it's the first combat, there's an additional combat phase, along with untapping that creature, making it so that you could deal some additional combat damage, some additional combat phases for that additional instance of creating a treasure token there for you. Lightning Grease for haste to make sure our creatures can attack the turn they come in. This way they don't get removed before you deal damage to our opponent and end up not being able to get that treasure token off them. Liquid Metal Torque, we get some mana, or we could tap and make something into an artifact. Maybe we're at that 29 mana. We just need, 29 artifacts. Just need one more thing. Let's make something into it. Mind Stone for some mana. Mycosynth Last. Let's make everything into an artifact if we need so many artifacts, because 30 is quite a bit. You're not going to attempt to make it that high, so that's why we do have like other ways to win in here, but it is fun to try. Mystic Forge. Oops, sorry. Cast artifacts from the top of your library, or pay 1 life, exile top card of your library, so that you don't keep running into the same land over and over again. And it's also cast artifact spells, so you can't play lands. Prize Statue. Enters the battlefield, get a treasure token. You're already up to 2 artifacts on the board. And it's only turn 2. I'd say it's a pretty good position to be in. And also you could sacrifice it and you still go neutral in terms of how many artifacts you're at. Sculpting Steel lets us become a copy of our best artifacts, so we get even more artifacts. Soul Ring for some mana. Stranic Resonator. It makes our triggered abilities happen a second time. So Knuckles has a pretty good one that'll create us those artifacts. Or we could win the game twice if we are at that point in the game. Swiftfoot Boot for some mana. Sorry, that's not mana. That's giving things haste so they can attack the turn they come down. And making sure that we can deal a little bit of damage to our opponent. So that we could get those treasure tokens. Fire Crystals, same thing with that haste enabling. One Ring, we want to make sure that we have some artifacts that could stick around. This one's indestructible and also allows us to draw into our other artifacts. Reaver Cleaver, quick creatures +1/+1 trample. Whenever it deals damage to an opponent or planeswalker, create that many treasure tokens. Maybe if you deal dirty damage to one person, that person's eliminated from the game, but you got the dirty treasure tokens, so you're set, and then someone Vandal Blast you. Academy Manufacturer. Anytime we create a treasure token, we get a clue and a food as well, so that we could get the additional artifact onto the battlefield for some big moves in terms of our count. Blightsteel Colossus, it's an artifact, it has trample, it's a big stat line. If we don't destroy them with Infect, we could potentially, just have this get us those treasure tokens off of Knuckles. But also giving it haste, people are not going to like it too much. Bosch, Iron Golem, trample. You sacrifice an artifact, deal damage equal to the sacrifice artifact mana value to any target, could be a player, but you're going to tend to just use the trample with the big stat line in order to get that ability with Knuckles. Bray's Apprentice. Enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 color Stopter artifact creature token with flying. So flying is the other way you could deal damage to our opponent without having to worry about it. And sacrifice an artifact, choose one, exile top card from your library. Target creature gets +2/+0 on the turn, allowing us to deal some additional damage for our stuff that does have the trample. Burnished Heart, sacrifice it, get 2 basic lands out of your deck. Unfortunately, you can't get the artifact lands to replace this with 2 artifacts, but this is also an artifact in case you need an additional artifact on top of that. Just Gloria Flame Tyrant, 9 mana for 5/4, affinity for artifacts, so you could potentially cost as little as 3 if you have enough treasures on the board already. Flying Haste, allowing us to deal damage, get the additional treasure there with Knuckles. And whenever this attacks, exile top 5 cards of your library, may cast an artifact spell from among them this turn. If you do, it has affinity for artifacts, aka you can get some of your artifacts for free if you have enough artifacts on board. Oops, sorry. Where were we? Yep, Goblin Engineer. Enters, search your library for an artifact card, put it into Graveyard Shuffle, pay 1 mana, get your worst artifact off of your battlefield, like probably Prize Statue, because you'll go neutral with that in order to get probably Reaver Cleaver out of your graveyard and equip it to something so you can get a lot of treasures. Goldspan Dragon, Flying Haste. Attacks or becomes a target of spell, create a treasure token, gets more and more treasure tokens. This way we could get more and more mana off of them because he makes them tap for 2 instead of just a 1. Hellkite Tyrant, Flying Trample, deals combat damage to player, gain control of all artifacts that player controls. They could still sacrifice their treasures, but maybe you just get a Soul Ring and an Arcane Signet, that still puts you up 2 in the artifact department. Or if you use Mycosynth Lattice, all cards that are, all permanents are artifacts in addition to their other types. So not only do you get their artifacts, you get their lands, you get their creatures, you get their enchantments, because everything is an artifact. Also, if you have Wiggis Haste, it is just mean. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 20 more artifacts, you win the game. Same thing with Knuckles, just you only need 20 instead of 30. Iron Mirror is an artifact that'll tap for some mana. Joyous Familiar makes it so we can get our artifacts on board for a little bit cheaper, along with being an artifact itself. Kuldorta, Forge Master, sacrifice 3 artifacts, search your library for an artifact card, put it onto the battlefield. AK, one of your ones that'll get you more artifacts, even just sometimes like that still puts you up in terms of how many artifacts you control, especially if you have Mycosynth Lattice, because it makes your lands into artifacts as well, which is a lot easier to get to 30 of. Liberator is this battle adapter, allowing you to cast your artifact spells with flash. Mannequin, some additional mana, also an artifact. Mirror Battlesphere, this will be a really fun one to blink. Whenever a creature you control, when this creature you control enters, create 4 1/1 mirror artifact creature tokens. And you get some additional power with that, but we're going to keep those around in order to make sure that we have the 30 on the board. Ornithopter of Paradise, some additional mana there, along with being an artifact. Palladium Mirror, artifact for some mana. Phyrexian Triniform, really like this card in here. Whenever it dies, create 3 golems. So, it starts off as a 9/9, dealing the damage to your opponent because you're going to have a way to give it haste, trample, or some other way. But you go 2 positive in terms of your artifact count, getting you closer to 30. What? I think I put Professional Facebreaker in so many of these Sonic decks. Deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token, sacrifice a treasure, exile top card of your library, maybe you'll get to your Mycosynth Lattice. Shimmer Mirror, cast your artifact spells as they hit flash, like I said, most of your spells. Solemn Simulacrum, additional way to get some lands out of your deck, along with an artifact, and drawing some cards. Steel Hellkite, can get pretty strong, especially if you get to a certain amount of treasures and you're just like, well, I just need to start swinging. And then eventually you destroy each non-land permanent with mana value X or less, whose controller was dealt damage by this creature. Wait, okay, that said just destroy all permanents, but then it says non-land. There it is. Triplicate Titan, Wormcoil Engine do the same thing that Phyrexian Triniform do, where they help you go positive in terms of the amount of artifacts you control. And Zorn, since we're going to be creating so many treasure tokens, we may as well create 2 instead of just 1 at any time. But let's scroll on over here to the second half. We have Curse of Opulence. Whenever enchanted player is attacked, each player attacking that player does the same. Sorry, oh, you get gold tokens, so does everyone else. That attacks them. So you encourage people to attack that person to give you some gold tokens to get you closer to that 30 mana. Rain of Riches, get 2 treasure tokens. Use your treasure tokens, you get the Cascade. So you get to, maybe cast what would be a good one? Goldspan Dragon for like 5. And then you could what's it called? Cascade down into Academy Burnish Heart. Brothers War. Create 2 tap Power Stone tokens. Those are artifacts in addition to their other stuff. Choose 2 players until your next turn. Each creature they control attacks the other chosen player, each combat if able. And then Brothers War deals X damage to any target and X damage to any other target, where X is the number of artifacts you control. So potentially you're dealing that 30 damage if you don't have enough, or say, if they removed your one thing, you can just deal 29 damage to them. You don't need to worry about winning the game. You'll just won the game. Big score, get some draw power, get some treasure tokens, cast warp, remove their 1/1 token, or to give them their best card out of their deck. Unexpected windfall, draw power along with some treasure tokens. They're ready, scrap savant, discard up to 2 cards to draw that many cards. Sacrifice an artifact, return target artifact from your graveyard to the battlefield. So even if they do just Vandal Blast one thing, we want to make sure we have a way to get it back. Or -10, which we'll probably not get to, where whenever an artifact is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, returns to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. And Card Great Creator, activate abilities of artifacts your opponent's control can't be activated. So, maybe they're relying a lot on theirs. I mean, you are. We know we are. But let's make it so we benefit and they don't, especially if we gave them all those gold tokens with Curse of Opulence. Blasphemous Act for a board wipe. Inspired Tinkering for those 3 treasure tokens in order to get, that already puts us at 9 if we have this and Academy Manufacture on the board. Pirate's Pillage, draw 2, get some treasure tokens for that artifact count. Red Sun's Twilight, destroy up to X target artifacts if X is 5 or more. For each artifact destroyed display, create a token that's a copy of it. Those tokens gain haste. Exile them at the beginning of the next end step. Is a sorcery, so you can't really win the game off of destroying all of your opponent's artifacts. But you could win the moral victory by making it so that they don't have a soul ring or arcane signet or talismans. Saheeli's directive, improvise. Feel the top X cards of your library. You may put any number of artifact cards with CMC X or less from among them onto the battlefield and put all cards revealed this way that weren't put onto the battlefield into your graveyard. And you can get a whole bunch of super strong cards off the top of your deck by using all those treasure tokens for something. Seize the Day, untap target creature. After its main phase, there's an additional combat phase, allowing you to swing again, get Knuckles' ability, and additional time. Did I say, I have all the arts, I think, Knuckles, it looks weird to me. Seize the Spoils, draw power, additional treasures. Strike it rich, additional treasure token. Trash for treasure, return target artifact from your graveyard to the battlefield. You do have to sacrifice an artifact to do that, but still, you go neutral or you go positive if you have certain ones. Vandal Blast, destroy all artifacts that aren't yours. And then Visions of Ruin. Each opponent sacrifices an artifact. For each opponent who sacrifices this way, create a treasure token. And we can flash it back in order to do it again. But that's the deck there. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you do have any questions or comments about the deck, make sure to leave down there in the comment section. I hope you have a great rest of the day.